Hey everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where we give you great ideas that are easy to do and help you live a healthier lifestyle. So, it is the holiday season, which of course is one of my favorite times of the year because of course there's certain flavors that I really, really like. So of course, I know there's a bunch of you hating on pumpkin spice, but get over it. I love pumpkin spice along with gingerbread and some of those other Christmassy Thanksgiving flavors. So today we're going to do a sugar-free, of course, sugar-free, right? Pumpkin spice syrup. Now, there's several different versions of this. It's great for everything. You can put it in your coffee. You can put it on your pancakes, your protein pancakes, if you're me, if you're following some of those other healthier recipes. What is there that you cannot have that you can't make a healthier version of it? I think it's a great idea. So, super, super quick. You probably have all the things you need on hand for the most part, except for maybe the pumpkin puree. So, super fast. Only takes about 5 minutes, throw it in there, and then it needs to just cook down until the thickness that you desire. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some regular pumpkin puree, now not pumpkin pie mix. You're not wanting the spices to already be added to that because you need to be able to do that on your own. So I'm going to take about 1/4 cup. I get some paper towels here. 1/4 cup of the pumpkin puree. And I'm gonna put that in with 1 cup of water into my pan on the stove. I'm already heating it up just a little bit there, so I'm ahead of the game. Okay, so 1/4 cup of pumpkin puree. And throw that, you're just gonna actually put all the ingredients in it with the exception of the vanilla. You're gonna add that very last after you take it off the stove. So I'm gonna put that in. Like I said, it's cold out. I'm just totally into Christmas flavors right now. I love the holidays. I just love the family, like the family stuff. My favorite part is Christmas morning when we all get together and we're all downstairs under the tree and opening stuff. And of course this year I get to watch my grandbaby open presents, so I'm really super excited about that as well. Okay, so the 1/4 cup of pumpkin puree, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. Now, it's chili, so it's solid, but it works just fine. We're just gonna scrape that into, actually we keep a teaspoon in our our coconut oil just because we use it so frequently, and that's why we get the Costco size, right? Okay, so I'm gonna add that to my pan because I'm just gonna throw all the ingredients in and start to let it melt down and combine. Okay, and I always get this all over my fingers and in my fingernails, which is always great. But gotta be girly, so gotta do those kind of things. All right, so the coconut oil is melting in there. To that, I'm gonna add some spices. Now, I'm gonna add these all separately, but you can also add pumpkin pie spice, which would work just fine. It's that time of year. By the way, I know pumpkin pie spice is super expensive. We just found it at the dollar store. Who knew, right? Should stock up on that stuff because it's expensive, but it's really not hard to make yourself, so not a big deal. So to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon, and of course, Costco size, right? Costco size at my house always. When you have as many kids and as much family as I do, you kind of buy things in bulk. It works for me. All right, so we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Yeah, at one point I didn't have any pumpkin pie spice and actually had to make my own. It's not that difficult. Okay, to that I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And again, fortunately I had all these things in my house because we've been baking with the holidays here. Had an incredible Thanksgiving. Of course, I don't eat nearly what I think I'm going to each year just because I just can't. But I also don't prevent myself from eating the things that I love, because I don't eat like that regularly. Okay, so 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. I'm also going to add 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. I'm just gonna take that right off. That makes it super easy. 1/2 teaspoon. Actually, I lied. It's 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. That would make it pretty intense to add 1/2 teaspoon. So 1/4 teaspoon. I'm gonna mix that up just a little bit so that it's not all. There we go. All right, and to that I'm also going to add an 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves. Where did I put that? I know I'm really close to the camera today, so. All right, so we're gonna add the cloves. We just got a couple more ingredients. I guess it doesn't take very long to put together. Really what takes the longest is letting it just kind of simmer. Okay, there's that. And it makes it smell super great as well, which not a bad thing. I don't need a candle. I just need to make some sugar-free pumpkin spice syrup. Okay, to that I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. And really I'm just gonna kind of put it in my hand, drop it in, as well as 2 packets of stevia. Now, let me tell you something on that, because that can become a problem. What I've discovered here in the recent past is that not all packets of powdered stevia is the same. It depends on the brand. So what I use for anything that I'm making is I use the stevia in the raw because it is less. Some of them actually contain dextrose, which is a sugar, and some of them contain more erythritol or xylitol than others. You have to read the label. It's really interesting to me, and not just the nutrition label, guys. You actually have to read the ingredient list, because that's where you're going to discover there's certain things in there you don't necessarily want to eat. Like I said, dextrose, while it keeps it powdered and from clumping, it also is a sugar. So, right? So again, I tend to buy the name brand on purpose because I don't want all those extra things in there. So we usually have some of that on hand. So I'm going to use 2 packets of stevia. Now on this one, honestly, you could use the stevia glycerite or the liquid stevia. The glycerite I have to get from Amazon. Nobody locally carries it that I can find. Or the liquid, which is super inexpensive if you buy the Great Value brand at Walmart. And we go through a lot of that. So again, my whole family eats this way for the most part. We've been a little more lax because it is the holidays. But, you know, we do pretty good as a lifestyle. So I'm just gonna whisk that together. Now, the recipe itself says to let it simmer for up to 25 minutes to make it thicker. I don't even think you need it that long, because honestly, I don't want it to be quite that thick. However, let me show you what it's going to end up looking like. Ooh, look at my little glass jar. So again, it can be pretty thick. Store this in the refrigerator. You're not gonna be able to leave it out like a regular syrup or like the caramel, like sugar-free caramel syrup you put in coffee. Although this would taste amazing in coffee, it is one of the recommendations they have for it. You do want to keep this in the fridge in an airtight container, and I personally would heat it up before using it again. So either in the microwave or maybe a hot water bath over the stove, just to make it so it's not quite so thick. But then again, depends on what you're using it for as well. If you want it to be a little bit thicker, you don't need to actually let it warm up at all. So once that is the thickness of the consistency that I want, I'm actually going to add 1 teaspoon of real vanilla, not vanilla extract. Well, this is pure vanilla extract. I just haven't been to Mexico anytime lately. So put a teaspoon of this in it, mix it up, and you've got something that would be great on pancakes. Now, I have a really great recipe for pumpkin pancakes, but honestly, they're not the healthiest version of it. So I'm going to try and recreate that and see if I can't come up with a healthier version, because honestly, yeah, this time of year is one of my favorite things of all time. So I will post the recipe down below. If you guys have a great recipe you want to share, please, we do this just to help each other so that we can all have great, healthier lifestyles, especially during this holiday season. So have an incredible week, you guys. That is Meals with Melissa. Happy pumpkin spice, people.